Guys, now let's talk about the next topic, that is modes of catalysis. So how does enzyme brings about the desired reaction? So one thing that we have already discussed is lowering the activation energy. But that was the energy barrier point. But if you talk about the actual things which are happening at the active site, so that is called as a mode of catalysis. Let's talk about number one mode of catalysis, and that is acid-base catalysis. Guys, what is acid-base catalysis? These are the enzymes which have histidine in the active site, right? Histidine has a property that it can easily protonate, that is, gives the proton, and deprotonate, right? So basically it can accept and release the protons in the reaction, right? And that is why some enzymes like ribonucleases, they have histidine at their active site. So protonation and deprotonation, or accepting a proton and releasing the proton by the histidine, can bring about the desired catalysis, right? Can make the desired transition state, right? So that is by the proton releasing and receiving. Now, next is covalent catalysis. In this case, guys, the enzyme makes a temporary covalent bond with the substrate, right? Serine proteases, for example, are functioning through covalent catalysis. So the basic purpose of all these catalysis mechanism is to bring about the stability of transition state and to bring about the desired reaction, right? Now, serine proteases are examples of covalent catalysis. Now, the third is metal ion catalysis. As we know, guys, metals are may be present in the enzymes. So these metals, they have various properties. Like for example, iron. Iron can constantly change its oxidation status, Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus, Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus. So it keeps on releasing and taking the electrons and helps in oxidation reduction reactions of various enzymes. So that is called as metal ion catalysis. So metals are helping in generation of the products. Metals can also, guys, stabilize the negative charges of the substrates. For example, magnesium, during the activity of hexokinase, stabilize the negative charges of ATP. Fine, guys. Next is called as entropy reduction. Guys, what is entropy? Entropy simply means the disorderness of the system, right? And guys, remember one thing, that entropy is the part of activation energy. More the entropy, more is the activation energy, and slow is the reaction, right? So how does the enzyme acts here? Guys, enzyme brings the two reactants or various reactants together in an optimal geometry, in an ordered fashion, right? So basically, enzyme is removing the disorderness, right, and putting the things into the order, into the optimal geometry of binding to the catalytic site. And that's how the enzyme decrease entropy, and so is the decreasing the activation energy. Then guys, the last one is, it is called as the strain, putting the strain. It is called as catalysis by strain. So what do you mean by that? Guys, when the enzyme is binding to the substrate, let's take an example. Sucrase is one of the enzymes, that is a hydrolase enzyme. Sucrase breaks the sucrose into glucose and fructose. So when the sucrase binds to the sucrose, right, it put the strains on the bond between glucose and fructose, right? Okay, so bond is strained, and that's why it is broken easily, right, by addition of water. So that is called as catalysis by the strain. So as these are the various mechanisms which are called as modes of catalysis.